Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's Royal Cyber webinar session with SAP. Let's give another 30 seconds for any last-minute attendees before getting started. All right, well, hello everyone. My name is Alfonso Suaje, Business Lead for our Enterprise SAP Commerce Services here at Royal Cyber. Today's webinar session is focused on how you can optimize your digital roadmap, and we will cover all you need to know to accelerate your e-commerce journey with SAP Commerce Cloud and Spartacus Storefronts. Before getting started, let's introduce you to our powerhouse of speakers. Today, we are joined once again by Bill Marcotte, Senior Product Manager of Spartacus and Accelerator Storefronts at SAP, Mark Phillips, General Manager of e-commerce at Fletcher Building. Fletcher Building is a building materials manufacturing and distributor giant in the Australia and New Zealand region. And we'll also be joined by my colleagues, Abdul Wahab, SAP Commerce Practice Head, and Magesh Kumar, Senior Account Manager for SAP Commerce here at Royal Cyber. So for today's agenda, we'll kick off with a Royal Cyber Company overview. Bill will then take it away by giving us an introduction to Spartacus Headless Storefront, including latest release updates, business benefits, and best practices. From there, Abdul Wahab will share about our SAP Commerce Cloud and Spartacus Storefront capabilities and experience and how we can support your team in your upcoming roadmap, followed by Mark and Magesh, where they will share about Fletcher Building's experience with SAP Commerce and Spartacus to date and how Royal Cyber is supporting their team throughout the journey. We will then have a QA session where we can answer any of the questions you might have on Spartacus Storefront specific to your own environment, and we'll wrap up with details for our special offer for all attendees. So let's go ahead and start with a quick Royal Cyber introduction for those that are meeting us for the first time today. Royal Cyber is an IT consulting and digital transformation company. We've been supporting organizations like yours to innovate their e-commerce presence and strategy since 2002. And now with over 1,200 employees worldwide, Royal Cyber has successfully completed over 1,500 projects for more than 130 clients through our offices across the US, Canada, India, Pakistan, KSA, and New Zealand. We specialize in providing end-to-end services and solutions for everything e-commerce and its surrounding ecosystem, including cloud, analytics, AI, integrations, portal, RPA, mobile, all across 12 plus industries and various business models. We serve major enterprise organizations as IT systems implementer and trusted technology partners for leading technologies like our SAP Commerce Gold Partnership, as well as many other top platforms across the e-commerce realm. And now that we're well acquainted, I just want to make sure I remind you that this session is all for you, and we hope you feel comfortable asking any pressing questions that you might have specific to your own e-commerce and Spartacus journey. That said, let's direct our attention to SAP's visionary, Bill Marcotte.
Okay, thank you, Alfonso. So I'm Bill Marcotte. I'm the product manager for Spartacus, and I'm here to share the state of Spartacus and what's coming in our roadmap. So I'm going to share my presentation. Okay, here we go. So just a little disclaimer that my presentation does contain forward-thinking statements, and it should not be seen as a commitment, as we all know. All right, so all about Project Spartacus. What is it? When we talk about Spartacus, we have to step backwards a little bit and talk about why we're talking about Spartacus. SAP's Commerce Cloud strategy has, for several years now, been the idea of headless commerce, where you have a single source of truth that, let's say, contains all the business logic of everything from what products are you displaying to what happens when someone does a search to, does a product have a promotion? What kind of taxes are paid? What delivery information are you displaying? All this should be, let's say, stored in a central brain. And that's what, let's say, a headless commerce system is all about. Previously, Commerce Cloud, with all its great commerce features, was offered with a coupled or tightly coupled accelerator template or accelerator storefront, which ran on the same platform, which meant that accelerator, to access all this great commerce functionality, would have to be on the same platform in order to access the data and the business logic. But the idea behind offering your headless commerce system, your commerce system in a headless manner, is that the front end, the touch point, the thing that customers interact with, doesn't have to be on the exact same platform, which opens up a lot of benefits. For example, with your Commerce Cloud platform being on one server and your front end being on another server, you have independent release cycles. So you might refresh your front end more often than the back end. You have separate code bases. So you have separate groups of developers who can run at their own paces and release when they want. Which brings more focus to development and maybe more narrower technical expertise needed. And finally, the scalability and flexibility needed to make changes when those two different, let's say, groups of people or the technical requirements change. To make them independently so that one is not stuck on the other. Now, the front end or the touch point, let's call it the front end, uh, depends on the APIs of the back end, but that's the contract that has to be followed. Otherwise, everything is separate. So in any case, you decided to go headless, which is SAP's strategy for Commerce Cloud. And now you need something to act as the head or let's say as the main touch point. You could start from scratch. And I'm talking about, let's say, a browser-based touch point, so a browser app, right? There are other touch points you can create. For example, a dedicated mobile app or a smart speaker app or a toothbrush that makes orders. It could be any touch point. But of course, you're going to need at least a general website, like a big store, to be the primary welcoming point. So you can build this front end, this touch point from scratch. You can use Spartacus. There's a couple of third-party options. But of course, your choice is going to depend on how much time you have, the expertise in your team or your partner, your deadlines, how much budget you have. You might want to create a front end for a browser and a mobile app. Maybe your budget doesn't allow for that. What kind of skills does your developers have? And of course, I'm here to strongly recommend Spartacus, and that's what the rest of this presentation is all about. So what are we doing with Spartacus? Why are we offering it? Well, we have this vision where we're trying to essentially get customers going quickly. So we empower our customers to quickly build an engaging commerce experience that runs SAP. So there's a lot in that statement. So we want to give customers the power to develop their thing, to take something that has as much functionality as possible that's needed for a commerce site, and to just add what their business requirements or their brand requirements will require. Um, Doing it quickly is really important to us. Helping you create an engaging experience is really, really important because that's known to help with conversion and customer loyalty. And finally, that run SAP, it might be obvious because, of course, Spartacus was designed and built for Commerce Cloud, but we also provide integrations to many other SAP products. For example, Customer Data Cloud, which is for authentication and login and consent, or with digital payments, the SAP Digital Payments product. So if you decide that you're going to take Commerce Cloud and then some other SAP product that goes with Commerce, we want to make sure that the integration is as seamless as possible. So, and to sum it all up, we want to help you get going quickly, and we want to make sure that you can customize Spartacus as needed. So by customizing as needed, my catchphrase is customize as little or as much as you want. What you're seeing on the left is an example of Spartacus with out-of-the-box sample data, the electronic storefront. And on the right is the actual SAP store, which is using Spartacus to display the products on offer. So, for example, you see on the left side, the SAP logo is on the top left, and on the right side, the logo is on the top left. But they on the right side, they don't have, let's say, that extra bar on the top. So you customize as little or as much as you want based on your business needs and also on your brand needs. There's a few demo sites that you can use to view Spartacus. There's electronics, there's apparel and power tools. They're just general sites that use the out-of-the-box sample data. So this slide has many benefits that I could talk about for Spartacus, and I only have about 15 minutes, so I don't want to use up all the time on this one. But just to run through it quickly, Spartacus' one and only goal is to help you get the most out of SAP Commerce Cloud. There are many out-of-the-box features that help you do this. So for example, out of the box, you have search, you have checkout, you have see my order, you have wish list. But for example, we don't have, let's say, ability to display when your order is coming. That's an integration issue with your particular setup. But maybe in the future we'll add that because we know customers want to do that. We want to help you get fast time to get to the market as quickly as possible. So we provide as many out-of-the-box commodity features, not just experience features like wish list, but architectural features like server-side rendering or event system or integration with Google Tag Management. A lot of these features you'd have to build yourself anyway. So we did it the way we think everybody can use it. And we hope that you can use it as is and then focus on what makes your brand great or what your needs are for your business. You have the flexibility to use API-based services, meaning, Commerce Cloud offers API-based headless storefront, headless commerce, and Spartacus uses APIs to make calls to the backend. But also, if you wanted to connect to some other system that offered through APIs, you could. And it's the recommended head for your headless commerce strategy. We use modern frameworks and technologies. So, for example, we're using Angular, which is a popular front end framework for making rich experiences. Spartacus is an SPA, single page application, which means when you click something, the page doesn't reload for faster performance. Or a PWA, progressive web app, which means you can install service workers for caching to improve performance. You can install Spartacus as a pseudo app in your home screen. We like to say it's a great development starting point because we integrate a lot of architectural features that you would need anyway. I mentioned server-side rendering, but there's also lazy loading, the ability to only load part of the page depending on what the user is seeing. So if you have a search results page that has 20 items in it, you wouldn't load all 20 pictures. You would just load the first 5, for example. So that improves performance. We try to do things that help development be faster. We make sure that Spartacus is as extensible as possible while still being upgradable. Because one of the problems with Accelerator, although it was great for its time, it wasn't upgradable. We try to deliver, the user experience we deliver with Spartacus has to be kind of generic because we're trying to address many different needs. But we're working on improving the experience to be faster and more engaging. We use responsive design so that your storefront works out of the box with desktop computers, tablets, and mobile phones, right? So essentially any modern browser on any device without the need for a dedicated mobile app. We're driven specifically by Commerce Cloud CMS. We're SEO friendly, but you can also substitute your own CMS. We try to we try to publish new releases as frequently as possible so you can take advantage of new features. But we remain open source with full support, meaning, and it's got a little star there because SAP provides support for Spartacus, but we're not an official product yet, which is something that's happening this year. Okay, so that's the gamut of all the benefits. So what do you actually get with Spartacus? It's a set of libraries that expose access to SAP Commerce Cloud functionality. You build an Angular app, add Spartacus, and then customization. So here's Angular. You install Angular, and then you create an app. You add Spartacus libraries using a schematics command that we include with Spartacus. And you can actually run your site at this point. But you probably want to add customizations like integrating with your checkout provider, your tax provider, maybe your inventory system. And finally, you have a Spartacus-based storefront that meets your branding and business needs. So some of the things that you get in the library are architectural things that you'd have to build anyway. I mentioned already, let's say the server-side rendering, the fact that we support the CMS that comes with Commerce Cloud. Like for example, there's a carousel component. We support the carousel component that comes out of Commerce Cloud, so you don't have to build one. And if you have a specific carousel implementation that extends how carousel works, maybe there's an on-hover preview of something. you can extend or replace the carousel component that comes in Spartacus. So use and customize as much as you need to. There's SEO, automated SEO attributes that can be added to HTML pages as they're loaded. Of course, there's URLs, and you might think, well, that's an obvious thing, Bill. Why? What's special about having a URL? Well, when you're a single page application, there's only a single URL. So you kind of have to fake it when you're a spa, when you're a single page application, by using the history API, and then you get real URLs. So you have a linkable, copyable URL for SEO purposes. We include out of the box lazy loading and implement it in our components. Page routing. We have an event system with tag management and integration to Google Tag Manager and Adobe's Tag Manager. There's many more things we can list, and I have a release document that you can go and look. But really the goal is put as many commodity or things that you need into Spartacus so you can just focus on what you want to do. But what else is included? So those were all architecture things. So experience features, and again, you can go to the release page to see everything. But essentially, everything that Commerce Cloud supports, everything that Accelerator supports, is what we want to have in Spartacus. We're not 100% there yet, but we're about 80%. So just basic things like being able to search, add to cart, being able to register and log in, see your order history, cancel or return items. Accessibility support, very important. Right now, we support keyboarding, and in 5.0 release this year, we will support screen readers, and we're heading towards WCAG 2.1 eventually. Support for the assisted service module, so the ability for a salesperson to sort of emulate a customer and help them check out. Support for out-of-the-box smart edit for content management. Use of responsive design, so you get the views on your mobile phone or desktop. And again, too many things to list. See that document. Besides that, we also have many integrations. Again, it's not complete. There's still many integrations to go, but we have many of the important ones. So for example, Customer Data Cloud for the authentication, digital payments for integration with payment systems, variant configuration and pricing for and CPQ integration for complex configuration of products, visualization of complex diagrams. That's what the EPD visualization is. We support Qualtrics and many more SAP product integrations coming. So like I said, I keep saying there are too many things to list, and there are. So please go to that document to find out more. And so I'm going to close off this presentation with a quick overview of the roadmap. So this looks very dense, and it is. Originally, we were planning to release our next major in May, but we delayed it to September because we're transitioning Spartacus from purely open source, which was being supported by SAP by both providing code and also supporting it for customers who are using it. So if there's a bug or a question or complexity that needs resolving, the team also supported them. So I like to say that we fully support anyone using Spartacus, but it was never official because SAP doesn't publish Spartacus as an official product through SAP's ways. Now, before you freak out, we actually follow all the rules SAP has for publishing products, like doing whitelist scans and things like that. We're just making it official for customers. Once we get released as an SAP product officially, it probably won't be much difference besides having to point to a special registry, but we'll publish documentation for that. But that being said, our next release is planned for September with everything that we had planned to do for May. So moving to Angular 13, creating new libraries for cart and schedule replenishment, and that improves performance because that means the libraries are only loaded when needed. So you don't load the cart library until the cart's loaded. You don't load schedule replenishment unless that's features being used. We're implementing improvements to how data storage is done through commanding queries in the checkout. We have schematic support for the wrapper modules, the aforementioned screen reader support, amongst other accessibility improvements. Support for the PDF and video CMS that's coming out in came out in 2205. Some small UX improvements, so being able to clear the cart with one button, clicking a back to top to go to the top of the screen, and ability to show a password when you're typing. And finally, improvement that makes working with C2C better. So that was the original, or mostly the original 5.0 release plan. But we have a lot of features being developed in the meantime. So 2 months later, we plan to release a 6.0, upgrading Angular to the latest framework, probably 14, maybe 15, depending on Angular's release. And then many features that we're working on, for example, B2B registration, which is an API that was released in 2205, Feature stock, the same thing. Ability to see when stock is coming, again, 2205. The implementation of pickup in store in Spartacus. This is an API and a feature that's already available in the backend. For ASM, ability to bind an anonymous cart to a user to display a customer list. Those were APIs that were introduced a few releases ago, adding support in Spartacus. Configure bundles is another API that was added recently. That allows you to, let's say, bundle, a hat and a shirt and shoes into one group that you then set a specific price for. It's kind of a combination of bundling and promotions. Adding support for that in Spartacus. Account summary is the ability using commerce organization to display invoices from administration level. So I'm a buyer and I have a bunch of people making orders. I want to see all my invoices. So that's that feature that's available in Accelerator, and we're going to add it to Spartacus, and the API will be available in the 2211 release. And then a small introduction to a big feature, S4 order management. The small feature is schedule line. So the ability to see inventory, sorry, not inventory, but delivery dates for the things you're ordering. And that's just the beginning of integration into much bigger exploration of integration to S4OM. And then following that, in the new year, we'll probably release some new miners, which will contain just features. So just so everybody knows, when you release miners, we're backwards compatible. So when you update to a 6.1 from a 6.0, usually there's no compatibility issues. If you go from let's say a 4.3 to 5.0, usually you have to do some compatibility, some updates of the code because of removal of deprecated code, etc. But the idea is that in the first half of 2023, we're going to be introducing Spartacus support for commerce quotes and punch out a customer 360. And some of these things have APIs already, some of them coming in 2211, or maybe even in a future release. And then ultimately our goal is to have full parity with all the accelerator features. But this is just really talking about features. We have many goodies planned for the architecture, performance improvements, more usage of command and queries, more libraries for performance improvements, etc. But those are to be determined as we go. Okay, and that is my presentation, right on the nose for 20 minutes. Thank you for listening. I look forward to the questions that are going to come. Now I'm going to pass the baton to Abdul. So Abdul, why don't you take it away? And thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks, Alfonso and Bill Marcotte. Hello, everyone. This is Abdul Wahab. I'm leading SAP Commerce Practice in Royal Sabre. Let me brief about SAP CX Practice, what we do, and then Spartacus what we have done, what is our capabilities. Let me brief about SAP Commerce Practice, our capabilities and experience. Our services, right? So we have definitely innovative commerce implementations experience. We have done number of implementations, which included Accelerator Storefront and also Spartacus Storefront based implementations. And also we also have the good team to do the performance and quality enhancements for your existing commerce site, which included Spartacus performance as well, and also Accelerator Storefront and SAP Commerce performance and quality enhancements. And we do have a great expertise, great expertise to do the upgrade and migrations. The upgrade include, which is SAP Commerce upgrade, and also Spartacus migrations as well. It's a SAP Commerce upgrade, which is needed for migrating into Spartacus Storefront, and also migrating into CCV2 Cloud, and also migration into Spartacus. Also, we have experts and the good capabilities we do have. We do have a great experience. We have done a number of projects in our existing customers as well. Right, and additionally, we also provide quality managed service support, which is included 24/7 active support and passive supports, everything which has been included part of these services. Royal Sabre is having a big development center in offshore, so that would benefit our customers to get great deal in the rate perspective, right? So we have our development centers in India. in Chennai and Bangalore, we have a big development center. So we have a number of resources working in our offshore development center. And also our presence in Illinois, North America. We have a headquarters in North America. So that have around 30 plus resources working in SAP Commerce in different for different customers basically. And additionally, we do have our capabilities. We are expanding into addition to that SAP Commerce CX. We also expanding into CDP and also like sales and service cloud and marketing cloud. MS is also we do have great experience resources working. This is just overview about our experience, the highlights, our practice highlights and experience. As I mentioned before, we have implemented a number of B2B and B2C implementations, new implementations, greenfield implementations, and also we have done a number of upgrade and migrations. We have done new implementations for Spartacus Storefront, and also like we have migrated some of our customers from Accelerator Storefront into Spartacus Storefront also. So this is some of our customers which you are seeing. There are different customers. There are a number of customers in North America, and then ANZ regions. There is a big customers. Actually, we have done a number of business unit, which is included Accelerator Storefront and also Spartacus Storefront, and again, Spartacus migrations also we have done from Accelerator Storefront as well. And Middle East and North America and Turkey also we have number of customers we are working with. And as I mentioned, around 160 plus resources now. Around it's around 200 resources now. Number of resources we are expanding the capabilities as well. It's keep on increasing. Around 200 resources are working in the SAP Commerce Practice. We are SAP Gold Partner, and we do have reselling license partnership as well. We can resell the license. And we do have build partnerships. So that build partnerships providing opportunities to us to create new products, based on our customers' pain point. We have created few solutions, and we launched those solutions into SAP Marketplace as well. You can find out in store.sap.com as well some of our product which have launched already. Right, so including the AI personalized search and also like 3D configurations and Go Test Pro. These are all few products which we launched actually, which is very beneficial to our customers as well, which is giving great ROI to our customers as well. So these are all few products which we have created based on our customer pain point, and which is giving benefit to the customers, our customers. This is some of the overview about our experience, and then our practice highlights. And the same, again, I'm just providing, the same, expertise basically. In this, India, we have, big development center. Additionally, we also launched, our development center in Pakistan as well. So that's also, going to give great benefit to our customers in the rate perspective. Now I'll hand over to Mark and Magesh. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hello, my name's Mark Phillips, and I'm here to talk to you about Fletcher Building's digital transformation, and specifically how Commerce Cloud V2, along with Spartacus technology, has helped us to accelerate our transformation across this large and complex business. Firstly, I'd like to describe a little bit about myself. I graduated from the University of Waikato. I've been in Fletcher Building 22 years. I started at the Mount Wellington branch before I moved into technology, where I was a senior business analyst for 9 years. From then, I graduated to a GM head of IT for the distribution business, and for the last year, the concrete division as well. Because of the work I'd done on the digital transformation within distribution, specifically placemakers, I was asked to take on the newly formed role of GM of eCommerce for Fletcher Building, looking after all the e-commerce and digital platforms across the group. So a little bit about Fletcher Building. So Fletcher Building is an iconic New Zealand company, has 30-odd business units that operate across Australia and New Zealand, and employs 14,000 plus staff, and has a turnover approximately $8 billion. I'm part of Group Technology. Group Technology came into existence around about 2015. Prior to that, all the business units each had their own individual IT team, which ended up with a lot of IT people all over the place and a lot of fragmented solutions. Now, Group Technology is the central technology partner with Fletcher Building. We have over 200 employees and we cover all aspects of technology. That includes infrastructure, networks, end-user compute, ERP applications, strategy, and of course, e-commerce. So the start of our transformation actually begins in 2019. And that big zero indicates how much digital revenue, so revenue that came through our e-commerce platforms, were flowing through Fletcher Building business units. So we had no e-commerce products, we had zero digital revenue, and our customers' needs were changing. Even though they're B2B customers, that means they're not B2C like a homeowner. These are business owners that provide services. And in our case, they're typically builders or plumbers that work on people's homes. They started to demand from their suppliers more digital experiences. And, you know, the classic one being when a delivery's on the way, being able to see the little placemaker's truck as it delivers on site. So the challenge we faced was how to build an e-commerce platform that all the BUs could share. So ideally, we wanted to create leverage, a build once, reuse many philosophy, whilst retaining full branding capabilities of their service offering. The power of Fletcher Building, a lot of it resides in the brand, such as Placemakers and Myco and TradeLink. So how could we create one platform with, in essence, multiple storefronts that represented the different brands, as well as the different customer segments that they dealt to, and utilize agile ways of working to provide the velocity that we needed. The old ways of doing technology projects, waterfall, didn't really work or don't really work for e-commerce. The majority or the main method now is agile ways of working. So how do we do that? We also had a further challenge, as I mentioned before, that prior to this, we had individual business teams and a lot of complexity in our environment. For example, 72 different ERP instances, and some of those technologies was quite old. There's a couple that the ERPs are well over 25 years old. Now, they weren't built for a real-time API, so we had a lot of challenges also from a technology perspective. So how did we approach this challenge? Well, key to approaching this challenge was really changing our thinking. A lot of the organization or a lot of Fletcher Building business units talked about being fast, and you don't become fast as an IT in a business shop simply by thinking about it. You've really got to define what it means, and you've got to build capability. So when we talked about what kind of capability we needed from a technology and business perspective, we wanted to be able to release things to the market quickly. That's your speed. We want to be able to pivot whenever the customers gave us feedback, or in a classic example for us was in response to COVID conditions. That's your agility. And it's just table stakes that your solutions must always work. There's no such thing as downtime in an e-commerce world, and they must always be highly secure because we are always under attack. The other key aspect about this rethinking our approach is that we needed to accept uncertainty. Unlike a waterfall project, we would not know everything at the start of the journey. And even what we did know, when we put the product in the customer's hands, they might say, I like this feature, but I don't like that. So we needed to build a capability that could deal with that uncertainty, and it links into our agility. So to build that capability, we had to really look at all aspects of how we built technology solutions in the e-commerce space. From a solution architecture perspective, we wanted to create a central reference architecture, but also provide flexibility, the ability to build once and deploy many. And this is where the power of Commerce Cloud CCV2 and specifically Spartacus enabled us to provide this kind of capability. We needed to make sure we had a clear view of our master data management so that we had all single view of the customer and a single view of the products. We had to move away from doing everything ourselves into partnerships and using proper partners that could scale with us and our ambition. Royal Cyber have been an outstanding partner of ours for well over 5 years. They were there at the inception of the program before we'd even written a business case, just planning and learning about the products. And they've been with us with our very first implementation in distribution, but also now across all the remaining business units, and are our partner of choice when it comes to building out our Commerce Cloud solutions. We had to move away from non-scalable enterprise class technology choices to only choosing technology that would scale with our business and provide the functionality that our customers required. Hence our move to Commerce Cloud V2, to Salesforce, MuleSoft, and others. And the next part around CI/CD is just a hygiene factor. The old ways of doing things, deploying code manually, that needed to change because we needed to improve our velocity. Royal Cyber have been also a key partner in helping us develop our CI/CD capability. Finally, we had to address our delivery method, and we moved to scaled agile. And when we did it, was not just the internal technology team, but our partners had to move to scaled agile as well. And Royal Cyber again have really taken to the scaled agile method. They've helped reorganize their internal teams so that they fit in with the scaled agile method and give us that speed and agility that we're after as a technology function, as well as a business and for our customers. So I'd just like to concentrate now on our architecture, our reference architecture. So our focus really was on, at the heart of our solution is SAP's Commerce Cloud V2. That gave us the capability to hook up multiple business units with their multiple ERPs to a single platform, and then allow us to deploy separate storefronts or virtual stores off that reflected the brand and their different customer segments. Now, initially when we started, with Laminex and Placemakers, we used the B2C store accelerator, which was tightly coupled to the base product. The Spartacus Storefront really wasn't available for us then. However, since then, Spartacus has been a tremendous help for us to accelerate our digital transformation. In the first instance, we deployed an Australian instance of CCV2 that houses TradeLink, the Myco New Zealand business, Fletcher Insulation, and Stramit. And we've managed to deploy those for e-commerce platforms or virtual stores within 12 months. We were able to build the first storefront on Spartacus. Because it's loosely coupled, it allowed us to take that storefront, that code and approach, and then scale it across Fletcher Insulation. Build out on Stramit into Fletcher Insulation, then take that code and reuse it again as a base platform for TradeLink and Myco. So Spartacus's ability to be decoupled from the base platform allows us to reuse a lot of it and be quicker with our deployments. We also faced the challenge with our original two business units, Laminex and Placemakers. Now they were on the B2C accelerator, and over time we need to move off that and onto Spartacus, which is the future direction of the SAP product. So Royal Cyber came up with an innovative way in which we could deploy new features onto Spartacus, but still from a customer experience, look as though they're looking at the same storefront. So they found a way to seamlessly transition from a customer perspective from the storefront accelerator through to a Spartacus instance. And we now slowly, as we build out new features, we build them out on Spartacus, and we're slowly migrating the existing features over to Spartacus as well. So over a short period of time, we can gracefully migrate off the old store accelerator onto the new Spartacus technology and get all the benefits of speed, reusability, ability to customize that you get with the Spartacus product. So how have we gone in meeting this challenge? Well, if you remember back to 2019, we had 0 e-commerce products and 0 digital revenue. So as of today, we now have 7 business units successfully launched onto e-commerce products using CCV2 and Hybris, all through the help of our partnership with Royal Cyber. So Placemakers has a trade portal and a trade app to create a omni-channel experience. We've recently in the process of launching a micro trade portal and app, and that's been done in half the time that it took us to do Placemakers. We also recently launched TradeLink too. That was done earlier this year. Finally, Fletcher Insulation, Stramit and Laminex Australia and Laminex New Zealand also have mature e-commerce projects out in the marketplace. So really the benefits of what we've done, we found that this approach, leveraging Spartacus and as well as the wider digital transformation, means we are quicker to market. By adopting this approach, we've been able to reduce the amount of time it takes to build an e-commerce instance by at least 50%, and that includes the cost as well. We also find that this approach means we're quicker to release features to customers and market. We do a release across all business units every 3 weeks. And some of our top competitors only do releases every 6 to 8 weeks. Obviously, we've seen significant revenue growth, and what's been great is as the transactional load and the amount of transactions go through the system and the revenue goes through the system, we've seen no issues to do with scalability or speed or reliability. So it's scaling beautifully as we start to scale and grow. We've been able, as I've described before, able to leverage and build on the previous iterations of our portal and apps. And we've seen our customer satisfaction scores around NPS for a number of our digital products are in the high 90s. And it's given us speed and agility. So with this approach and leveraging Spartacus, we're able to pivot as the customers need and as the market conditions change. And one of the key things for us was during the New Zealand COVID lockdown, the government would put in new regulations around how builders could work on site and how they could interact with their merchants. By leveraging the work of Royal Cyber as well as others and the technology of CCV2, we were able to introduce new features quickly to allow our customers to continue to build on site during the lockdown period, and that's something our competitors couldn't do. So in short, Fletcher Building has seen phenomenal growth in the number and quality of its e-commerce offerings and the amount of customer use and revenue that flows through them. So that's the end of my short story around how Spartacus has helped enable Fletcher Building's digital journey over the last 3 years. I hope you enjoyed it and it's been insightful. Thank you.